Are you concerned about a market crash in 2014? Well, so am I. So join us with Alessio Rastani, the Robin Hood of Wall Street, for a free trading webinar. Learn how to protect yourself and possibly profit. It's on December 5th, 8 o'clock British Standard Time. You can click on the link below or go to leadingtrader.com/2014. I'll be there. Educate yourself and get the edge.
You've been talking about gold for a long time. I want to get your thoughts on that, and I want to get your thoughts on Bitcoin. I don't know if you've ever talked about what you think about it, but everyone has talked about this. Obviously, we've had Max Kaiser on here before. He's a big proponent of Bitcoin, has been for a long time. What are your thoughts on that commodity?
Well, I mean, first on gold, I mean, going back to traditional money, I mean, look, when Britain was ruled by the monarch, the coin of the realm was gold.
Right. Bank of England started on gold, right?
And England prospered under the gold standard, and so did the United States. And so we need to go back to real money. What we have now, fiat currencies instead of real money, doesn't work. So we need to go back to real money. Now, do I think Bitcoin is real money? No, I don't. Right? It doesn't satisfy, to me, the definitions of money, what money needs to be. It doesn't have any intrinsic value on its own, right? It doesn't. You can't do anything with a Bitcoin, right? You can do something with gold. Gold has a value unique to itself.
But does Bitcoin still have a value?
Well, Bitcoin's value is only in your ability to spend it, that somebody will accept it. So it doesn't have any more value than euros or pounds or dollars. In fact, it actually has less because I can pay my income taxes in dollars. The US government requires me to pay income taxes in dollars. So there's a need for dollars. I need dollars even if I'm living on the gold standard personally, even if I'm transacting all my business in gold, I still have to buy dollars to pay my taxes. But I don't need Bitcoins for anything. Now, what makes Bitcoins popular for people is the supply of Bitcoins is limited, right? Unlike the supply of dollars or euros or pounds, which is unlimited. So politicians can create an unlimited number of dollars, but there's a finite supply of Bitcoins. And I don't really think that is significant enough. Because yes, just because there's a finite supply of something, doesn't mean that it's money, and it doesn't mean that it could be a substitute for gold. I think, to me, it looks like there's a bubble in Bitcoins. How much higher the bubble can go, I have no idea. I mean, maybe it's the ultimate bubble.
What about its frictionless transferability? Do you think that's something that can be an asset for Bitcoin? And then I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Part of the appeal of Bitcoin is that you can transact in Bitcoins without the reporting requirements that banks would have if you were using currency. Now, that's going to change over time. These rules and regulations are going to be applied to virtual currencies. Bitcoin's not the only one. There are a number of them out there. Yeah. And so I think it's going to lose a lot of that appeal because of the additional scrutiny that's going to come on. But when I said it, to me, it's like the ultimate bubble, is because people are buying Bitcoins right now, not really to use them in commerce, even though there is a way to use them. But if you look at the daily fluctuation in the price of a Bitcoin, and whether it's 10 or 20%, I mean, they're too volatile to really be used in commerce. They're too volatile, because you don't know what they're worth from even hour to hour.
Right. That's what you said 6 months ago. You didn't like the volatility.
Yeah. I think that the majority of the reason that people are buying Bitcoins is because they believe that they're going to get rich. I think people are buying Bitcoins like they were buying Beanie Babies at one point. They're not buying them to use them.
Pure speculation.
They're just holding on to them. And the reason the price is going up is because nobody is selling. Right. And everybody is storing their Bitcoins, and they're watching their wealth go up. But at some point, people are going to want to cash in these Bitcoins. And when that happens, the bottom drops out of the market because everybody can't sell. There needs to be a buyer. Right now, people are thinking that they're going to be multimillionaires. I mean, you have kids that have a few $100s worth of Bitcoins that think they're set for life. I mean, people start doing the numbers and they think, well, everybody on the planet's going to use Bitcoin. So, how much could they be worth? And people are making these crazy, they're going to be worth $1 billion, $1 million a coin. Meanwhile, there is a increased supply. People say there's no increasing supply. Yes, there is, because you can take the Bitcoin and you can break each one up into little teeny fractions. Yeah. So as people break the Bitcoins up, that really, it's like a stock splitting. You could say there's only 1,000 shares, but it does a split, and then it does a split. Bitcoins can split many, many times over, because you can take your Bitcoin and you can crack it into little pieces, right? How many decimal points can you break off a Bitcoin?
No, I totally agree. I think the whole idea that there's a finite supply of Bitcoin is totally bogus. I totally agree with that. And I think it is, some people have compared Bitcoin bubble to the first bubble in history, which is a tulip
bubble.
Yeah, exactly. In the Netherlands in the 1600s.
But it's even worse, because at least the tulip, I guess it was a flower. It had some, you could put it in your lapel. You had there was some use for it.
Right.
Even though obviously the value of the tulip bulb bore no relationship to its utility as a flower.
That's right.
But there is no utility. There is nothing you can do with the Bitcoin other than pass it to somebody else.
I think to be fair to the people who are Bitcoin fans or enthusiasts, what their argument is, and again, I'm not at all a Bitcoin investor, but I see their point of view. What they're saying is that it's a digital currency which has no political or any exchange or any it's not aligned to any political institution or anything like that. And I think it's in some sense that people who favor Bitcoin, they want some sort of freedom completely from financial institutions. That's what they want. They don't want a fiat currency that's linked to any financial institution. They see it as a sort of a anarchist sort of way.
The problem, though, money needs to be a long-term store of value. If you're going to actually transact in things, if you're going to have a bond that's denominated in Bitcoins that doesn't mature for 50 years, right? People have to have confidence in what something is going to be worth. And how the hell do you know?
Absolutely, I agree.
Could you put your life savings in Bitcoin? But it doesn't work that way. Yeah. But I'm pretty confident that gold's still going to have value in 50 years, because you have hundreds of years, thousands of years of history that shows that this metal is valued by humans, that it has properties that make it special and that give it intrinsic value. What I think the way of the future is kind of what I'm doing at my bank, at my offshore bank, Euro Pacific Bank. And what we do, and I'm sure other banks will do this over time, but what I do is I allow my bank customers to denominate their account in the currency of their choice, or gold or silver. So they can have their deposit stored in gold or silver. So if you live here in the UK, you can open up an account with me and say, okay, I'm going to fund it with 50,000 pounds, but I don't want it in pounds, I want it in gold. And then I buy you gold, and now your account has gold. You get a debit card that you can use in commerce. They don't even have to know that you have gold in the account. As far as they're concerned, you've got pounds, because when you go into the store and buy something, or you go into an ATM machine and take out cash, you're taking out pounds, or the merchant's getting paid in pounds. He doesn't know that we're liquidating gold in order to provide him with the pounds. So that enables people to use gold. And ultimately, what I'm going to be doing with my card eventually is, if merchants elect to be paid in gold instead of the pounds, they'll be able to do that. So if you use my card and the merchant is saying, look, I want gold, don't give me the pounds, just directly transfer gold in my account. And I think that the computers that we have now, it is very easy to take gold and really put it in a digital form, where it's just as easy to use in commerce as any other form of fiat currency. The difference is governments can't create it, but unlike Bitcoin, right?
It's real money.
It's real. It's tangible. You can take delivery of it, and gold has a use. Gold is a valuable metal that serves all of the required functions of money. That's why gold became money. Gold didn't become money because some politician said we're going to be on a gold standard. Gold was money before any politicians ever came around. Kings, they just recognized gold as money or silver as money because that's what was being used in commerce, because it worked. But when governments realized that they can seize control of the money and they could just declare paper to be money, they did it. because it allowed them to confiscate the wealth of their citizens.
Right.
But free people want real money. You don't want your government to steal your money by debasing the currency. And before they even had paper money, the way they would debase the currency, which is where the word comes from, is they would take the precious metal out of the currency and they would put base metal in the coin. And you wouldn't know that your money was being debased.
This week on London Real, we have the king of sound and ruler of beats, Beardy Man.
Oh, City boy stays true to his grandma. Yeah.
You imagine music in your head, and it just happens, which is something that many have dreamt of doing, but no one's ever bothered to try, really. A happy accident can happen that can spur an idea. There's all kinds of crazy technology that people are innovating, mostly in code these days, but there's hardware as well. The next stage that I'm working on, which is all very technologically based, this is something which I've always wanted to do, which is the idea of being able to do what you can do with beatbox, but have it not be shit. I'm still making music in a really twisted, sort of non-logical way that doesn't really make sense. Right now, as we speak, I'm at number 2 in the charts with a track I did with Fatboy Slim and Calvin Harris, and it's the dumbest thing I've ever done.
London Real presents Beardy Man, king of sound.
I have a tendency to be kind of obsessive and anxious and neurotic. So I think, I'm Jewish. What are you gonna do?